As a kid, I grew up playing football. I would go to the island of Mallorca on vacation. As a kid, I moved to the United States at the age of 10 and went on to have a professional career in the United States playing in Major League Soccer, and then also in the Premier League with a team called Bolton. And I was fortunate enough to have represented the United States in a World Cup in 2010 and an Olympics in 2008. My career had to end early through injury. Retired at 30 years old, got into TV broadcasting, and it's taken me on an interesting journey in life after soccer as a broadcaster traveling across the world, and then now as a team owner in Mallorca. And that has been one of the most surreal and enjoyable experiences of my professional life, watching and our team play, seeing our team go through from the third division to the second to La Liga, and it's been a pretty incredible experience so far. When I had the opportunity presented to me from Steve to be a part of an ownership group for a professional soccer team in Europe, it was a no-brainer. There was a lot of natural synergies. I think we all felt a real energy after the conversation, and as those conversations before we ultimately landed on Mallorca, it was a dream come true, and one that I got into with low expectations, but also excited to be a part of something and building something that we could be proud of when we looked back on it, however many years down the line. And I think it was a really important moment in Spanish soccer with the restructuring of the TV revenue model, whereas it used to be very top-heavy towards Barcelona and Real Madrid because those are the biggest brands, those are the teams that people want to watch, but also splitting the pie a little bit more and having some more incentive to increase parity and for smaller teams and smaller clubs to be able to invest in more of their rosters to have a more competitive team. And we saw an opportunity if we could strategically build our club in a way that got us into that league. We knew we would get a bigger distribution of that pie and make it a more attractive investment, a more attractive proposition and ability to spend more money, and also get the club and build it to a place where we believe it's got incredible value. And so far that has gone that way. But also we invested in Mallorca in the second division in Segunda, and shortly after we were in Segunda B in the third division, which was a wake-up call. It was the worst and the best thing to happen to us at the same time, because you deal with the initial disappointment and the reality that you're losing all your TV revenue, your sponsorship money is going to drop, you're going to have to lay off staff, you're going to have to lose a couple players potentially. But in looking back at it, and this is the way we really as an ownership group approached it at the time, was let's double down, let's see this as an opportunity to reshape the culture, to hire the right people, to buy people, to bring people in that were passionate about this project, and passionate about what Mallorca could be, not what Mallorca was, not where Mallorca used to be, and under false illusions of what this team currently is, which is a team in the third division. It's how do we step by step build this in the right way, invest money in the squad, keep our best players, buy more players to be the best team in this division, to make sure we don't get lost in the well of 80 teams in Segunda B, and get ourselves back into Segunda as quickly as possible, and then build from there. It just so happened that season went incredibly well. We hired an incredible coach in Vicente Moreno, who has led and steered this ship in the right direction, from setting the standard every day, building a culture and where players and people want to be a part of, and then leading us to back-to-back promotions into the top division in Spain. I remember thinking, so we're carrying a 2-0 deficit from the first leg, and after 20 minutes, Steve and I looked at each other and thought, we have a chance here. We were playing well, they were on the back foot, they looked nervous, and then we scored the first goal, and then we scored the second goal. Salva Sevilla scored this wonderful free kick, and at that point now we're starting to really dream about, we're 20 minutes away from potentially being in La Liga, which was never in the realm of possibilities when we first got promoted into Segunda again. Then Abdon Prats, a local kid from the island of Mallorca, had been in our academy, comes off the bench and scores this third goal. So that next 5 minutes, I think, was just filled of nerves, and all of us could barely watch. And I'll never forget the moment our keeper Lorena makes this save where he's down to his right, and this guy had a point blank shot from 6 yards. He tips it around the post, and I think that's when we all felt like this sigh of relief. The final whistle goes, and then the viral clip of us celebrating was, you know, our friends had not, without telling us, because we didn't want to get too excited, had already ordered bottles of champagne, and we just took them out and spraying in euphoria. And I remember, you know, running into sprinting into the ocean and doing a nosedive into the ocean, and it was one of the greatest moments of my life. And then also we watch every single match, whether it's on a tablet or it's on our TVs or we record. I watch every game. I see every minute. I'm dialed in on players' injuries and, you know, updates, and, you know, try to communicate what I see from afar. I'm never calling Vicente saying, "Why did you play Lago Jr. as as a right winger today?" Because that's all his decisions, and we're there just ultimately to provide support and guidance and expertise when we can, and be leaned on when necessary. I think American fans could learn to love Mallorca because there's an appreciation, I believe, by North American fans, towards teams that, you know, the underdog story, a team that was essentially ripped apart and left with nothing and has rebuilt in a way that is genuine, it's organic, it's authentic. And there's a North American ownership group that has invested their time, their money in a sport and in a team that are thousands of miles away on another continent. But yet it's a team that's very relatable in the way in which we work, and a team in which Mallorca, that had one championship medal amongst the whole team in a Croatian league for a player when we played against Real Madrid, a team which had 121 winners' medals amongst the 11 that started the game that day, and we were able to beat them 1-0. And it's a shot heard around the world, and I think that American fans can have an appreciation for that type of work and the underdog story and rags to riches, all the cliches, but it's a genuine thing. And I think the way that we approach it in such a humble and respectable nature is something that I hope all American fans want to support Mallorca. La Liga and Spain have had an incredible success in European soccer. Over the last decade, it was Sevilla winning Europa League, Barcelona or Real Madrid winning the Champions League. Spanish soccer has been the best league from a quality perspective for a long time. I'm a fan of the beautiful game, and I remember Mallorca winning the Copa del Rey. I remember Samuel Eto'o having played for that club. Ivan Campo, a player that played at the club I played actually in Bolton. We've had a mutual interest over Mallorca, but I would say that was my key when getting involved in this project, was just to learn as much as I could about the club, about what has made it successful in the past, what has made it unsuccessful in the recent history, what do the people of Mallorca want to see and feel and when they watch them, take my experiences as a player, as a broadcaster, and combine that with my experience as a person, and now I would say I'm still learning about Mallorca, and that's the fun part, because there's also a new Mallorca which we've helped create, and we're attempting to write this new history with still a great attachment to the old, and now evolve it into the future and the modern game as it's changing every day.